Hello everyone, I am Dr. B.K. Deshpande, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Cambridge Institute of Technology, Kyarpuram, Bengaluru. Today's topic is round robin CPU scheduling algorithm, in which I am going to explain the problem, how to find the solution for the problem, okay, how to find the average turnaround time and average waiting time. And in this problem, the time countdown is mentioned as 2 seconds. What does it mean? CPU is going to give only 2 seconds for the process as far as execution is concerned. This is the first point. Second point is, since this round robin CPU scheduling algorithm is preemptive, its mode is preemptive. What do you mean by that? So when process is being executed by the processor, so that can be taken out, okay, for the sake of other process which may be having highest priority. Okay, the CPU is going to analyze, CPU is going to decide according to the round robin scheduling algorithm. Second step you need to follow is draw the two horizontal chart. One horizontal chart is for the queue. Okay, so this queue is meant for loading the processes. Another CPU which is called as Gantt chart, which is for the execution purpose. Since CPU always starts with 0 units or 0 seconds, I should say, it keeps on increasing, time keeps on increasing. Okay, now CPU is supposed to load the process in the queue, correct? What is going to happen here, as far as the table is concerned, in this first three column you have to consider it: process number, arrival time which is AT, and burst time, it is BT. Okay, now since the CPU initial time is 0, at initial time of 0 which process is arriving, you have to see the second column, that is arrival time of the table. 0, that means P1 process is arrived. That means you have to load that P1 process in the queue. Okay, now next step you have to follow is, because since CPU is supposed to delete the entry from the queue, so that particular process is going to be executed. Okay, that will be executed by the CPU, so that entry will be striked off. Okay, so this should be taken here, P1. Okay, how much time it is going to be executed? That means it is only 2 seconds. Why it is 2 seconds? Because time quantum is 2 seconds here. Time quantum is 2 seconds. Correct? Time quantum is 2 seconds, and the burst time of the P1 is anyway 3 seconds. Okay? Fine, 2 seconds. Now this is a very important step. Okay, concentrate here. Gantt chart of the CPU. Since P1 is completed at 2 seconds, at 2 seconds you have to see the arrival table. Very important. At the arrival table, at 2 seconds, what are the processes are arrived? Very important. P2 is arrived and P3 is arrived. So these two processes are supposed to be sent into the queue or load into the queue. P2 as well as P3. Okay, P2 and P3. Now this P1 process is executed at 2 seconds as far as time quantum is concerned, then you have to go to this burst time column of the P1. That means it got executed for only 2 seconds. Correct? 2 seconds. 3 minus 2 is how much? 1. 1 is the remaining time of the P1. Again, it is supposed to be brought here in the queue because still 1 second is required, okay, to complete its full burst time. Okay, you take the example that when you go to the water park or water kingdom and see P1 process is basically what it is advent. It wants to slide in the water park for 3 times, correct? But P2 and P3 are in the queue. Basically, as far as water kingdom or water park rule is that you have to take only 2 seconds. As far as in our scenario, time quantum is 2 seconds. That means what? It is allowed to execute for only 2 seconds. That is what. Still 1 second is remaining, that should be brought into the queue. That is P1 again loaded into the queue. Okay. Now again follow the same process, because you have to bring the process from queue to CPU. Again strike it here. Okay, CPU is going to delete the entry from the queue and bring here into the CPU Gantt chart, okay, for the execution rather P2. Okay, so that P2, that means what? Again it is going to be executed for 2 seconds. 2 plus 2, 4 seconds, correct? Now this is a very important. At 4 seconds, okay, or at 4 units, what are the processes are arrived? That means P4 is arrived and P5 is arrived. P4 is arrived and P5 is arrived. That means you have to load these two processes in the queue, P4 and P5. Correct? That means, okay, P2's burst time is how much? 6. That means 6 minus 2, because it got executed only for 2 seconds. That means 6 minus 2 is 4. Again, it is supposed to be brought into the queue. Why? Because still 4 seconds are required or 4 units are required for the P2 to complete. That means P2 you have to mention in the queue. Again, you follow the same process. Again, strike it off here. Bring it here for the CPU execution. P3. Right? P3, that means 2 seconds. 4 plus 2, 6. 4 plus 2, 6. That means at 6 seconds, at 6 units, any process is arrived, you can check it here in the arrival time of the table. That means P6 is arrived. That means what you have to say, you have to bring this P6 into the queue. P6 in the queue. That means P3, that means it has got only burst time 2 seconds. That means 2 minus 2, 0. Is it required to bring into the queue? No, because already it is completed its execution. Okay, again you can strike it off here, P1 from the queue. P1 is supposed to be executed for how many units or seconds? 1 only. That means what? Only it gets executed for 1 second. That means P1, 6 plus 1, 7. Okay, so that is it required? This is, you can cancel it. Is it required to bring the P1? No, already it's got completed its execution. Next, okay, all the processes have come here. There is no need to see the arrival time from the table. Then P4 is brought here in the CPU Gantt chart. P4, that means what? It is 7 plus 2, 9. P4, 2 minus 2, that means 2 minus 2 is 0. It is also completed its execution. There is no need to bring that particular P4 into the queue. Right? Next, P5 comes from the ready queue to CPU. P5. P5 is how much? 5 seconds. That means what? 9 plus 2, 11. That means 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 is remaining. Again you have to bring this P5 because it needs to complete its burst time, that is execution. Okay? That means P5. P5 is brought here. Right? Again P2. P2 is brought here for the execution from the queue to CPU. P2, how much is remaining? 4 is remaining. That means what? It is only executed for 2 seconds. 11 plus 2, 13. Okay, that means what? 4 minus 2 becomes 2 still remaining. Right? That means again you have to put that particular P2 in the queue. Okay. Next, P6. P6 is brought. P6 is brought because so far P6 process is not executed. 13 plus 2, 15. Okay. That means its burst time is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2 is remaining. That means again you have to bring that process into the ready queue. P6. Right? P5. Now next one is P5 from the queue. Again mention here P5. Again how much? 3 is remaining. P5 is brought here in the Gantt chart of the CPU. Again executed for 2 seconds. 15 plus 2, 17. Okay. That means again you have to go here from in the burst time column. 3 minus 2, 1 is remaining. Again you have to bring that process P5 in the queue. Okay. Next P2. P2 you bring here. P2 is how much is remaining? 2 is seconds is remaining. That means 17 plus 2, 19. That means again you go to there. 2 minus 2. That means 2 was remaining. 2 minus 2 it got executed. That is 0 seconds. That means there is no need to bring this particular P2 in the queue. Next, P6 is brought. P6 is brought. How much is remaining? 2 seconds is remaining or 2 units is remaining. That means it got executed for 2 units or 2 seconds. 19 plus 2, 21. Okay. Then P6 you go to the burst time column. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 seconds over. Okay, 21. So last process P5 is remaining. That means you have to strike it off as far as our procedure is concerned. Okay, P5 is going to execute for only 1 second. That means P5, that means 21 plus 1, 22. So again you go back, that is also got executed. So this is how the queue and CPU are going to be formed. So that when it comes to executing the particular process as far as CPU is concerned, you need to consider the queue. Queue is basically meant for loading the processes, available processes, or any process wants to be get repeated according to the criteria. Also you have to mention here. Okay. Now you can start entering the completion time of the process. Completion time of the process you can just see here from the right side, from right to left. Okay, P5 got completed at which unit? 22. P5. That means you mention here 22. Next, P6 got completed at 21. Right? Next, P2 got completed at 19 seconds. Okay, P5 anyway over, P6 is over, P2 is over, P5. Okay, P4, yes, P4 got completed at 9 seconds. P4 got completed at 9 seconds. Okay, then P1 got completed at 7 seconds. Right? P3 got completed at 6 seconds, 6 units. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Next step is turnaround time. How to find the turnaround time? Turnaround time to be found out by using the formula CT minus AT. CT stands for completion time minus arrival time. That means 7 minus 0 is 7, 19 minus 1 is 18, 6 minus 2 is 4, 9 minus 3 is 6, 22 minus 4 is 18, 21 minus 6 is 15. Okay, this is how you have to find out turnaround time. Okay, waiting time is found out by turnaround time minus burst time. Okay, you have to consider the earlier burst time of the processes. Okay, now turnaround time minus burst time. 7 minus 3 is 4. Okay, 18 minus 6 is how much? 12. 4 minus 2 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. 18 minus 5 is 13. 15 minus 4 is 11. Yes, after finding the individual turnaround time as well as waiting time of the each process, now we need to find out average turnaround time. Average turnaround time can be found out by adding all the individual turnaround time of the processes. Okay, it will come around 68 divided by 6. So that 6 is the number of processes. Okay, that means it comes around 11.33 unit or seconds. And average waiting time is to be found out by adding individual waiting time of the each process. Okay, that becomes 46 divided by number of processes 7.67. And one more thing you must be thinking that time quantum we have taken is 2 seconds. It all depends on basically programmers or developers and CPU perspective, right? So what happens if time quantum is small? Okay, then you are going to have more number of context switches. What do you mean by context switch? Context switch is nothing but like here you can observe each processes which are being executed in the CPU Gantt chart. So it is P1, P2, P3 and P1 so on. Okay, each process is switching. P1 is switching to P2, P2 is switching to P3 and P3 is switching to P1. Okay, in this way the context process switching is taking place. Okay, then what I was saying is if time quantum is small, then you can have more context switch, and also waiting time is also decreased from the process point of view. If time quantum is more, what happens? Then you are going to have less context switches, and also corresponding with waiting time of the process is also going to be increased. Okay, I hope you understood the round robin CPU scheduling algorithm. Thank you once again.